we have with us tonight photographer Niccolo Cosme.
Hi.
Hi, Niccolo. Thank you for being here. Agad-agad.
Yes.
Diretso to. Welcome to Private Convos.
Thank you. I can't say no to you. Medyo matagal na natin itong pinaplan and I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. For those who are listening to us, I met Niccolo way before. Buhay pang Fiamma nun.
Yeah, there was a place that we always hang out at. Fiamma in Jupiter, Makati.
Yes. So,
siguro nga yan, 2004.
Oh my God.
2005, 2006. Yeah.
Mga ganon, 2005, 2006. And then, for a long time, we weren't able to talk to each other. And then I saw you again during the pandemic, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. Parang wow, it's been a while.
Yes, because you were doing a shoot and I was there. So, hello and welcome to my show. The other day, I was looking at Twitter. Sikat si Niccolo everywhere, including sa Twitter. And then I saw your tweet about you being prayed over ng isang madre ba?
I believe that she is a nun. She's a religious lay person, I think. Maybe she was a nun, I'm not sure. But hindi kasi siya nakabelo. So I volunteered for this orphanage. And so I will come every, siguro mga 3 times a week I'm there, helping out with the chores in the orphanage. But at the same time, I'm also teaching arts sa mga kids. For some reason, she found out that I was gay. Kasi yung isang co-volunteer ko that time was my boyfriend at the time. So for some reason, siguro, I think nag-away kami. Tapos parang nalaman niya. And then she was so concerned. And I thought maybe she's concerned about my relationship and she wants na maging okay kami. Pero yun pala, she was more concerned that I was gay.
Huh?
And so she brought me to the chapel. She had a chapel in the orphanage. She sat me down and she prayed over me. And, while all of this was happening, ang bilis ng pangyayari meron pa siya, I won't forget the words that she said. She said, "Look at Jesus." Kasi yun yung tabernacle. So she said, "Look at Jesus, speak to Him." And then while all of this was happening, she had her hands on top of me. And she was really praying over me so that the gay will go away.
Oh, wow!
Yeah. And while that was happening, natulala na lang ako, Doc. Parang, I was helpless because, first of all, that was her territory. I am a volunteer. Right? So dun sa hierarchy ba, parang, she's more powerful than me, right? Sorry. So to me, parang, there was no way that I can do anything about it at that moment, but to just sit down and just accept what was happening. Hindi ko rin siya ma-process and I think, pag na-shock ka din, di ba? Parang, what will you do?
Ka. Oo.
So I went home just wondering what happened and, sometimes, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to relate. Maraming chances na pag may mga dumadaang chances na ganyan, doon mo lang iniisip na parang, oh, this is what I should have done. I could have spoken to her, all of those things. But, of course, past is past. Tapos na yun. So yun, that was one of my weirdest experience.
Ilang taon ka nun?
I was 25.
Oh, you were already an adult.
Yeah, I was 25 years old. Yeah.
And then someone tried to pray the gay away.
Yeah.
Did it happen?
No. Well,
did the prayer
sister, if you're watching, if you're still alive, it didn't work.
Of course it will not work. You cannot shoo the gay away, right? Because that's who you are. But speaking of who you are, how did you find out that you were gay when you were a child?
Yeah, interesting yung experience ko with si sister. I grew up very religious. So my family is very conservative. We're originally from Cavite, Kawit, Cavite. And I grew up in a very religious and very conservative family. My lola, on my father's side, was a former nun. She came out, of course, and she met my lola, and the rest is history. And then on my mother's side, religious din, lay minister. We have nuns in the family. My dad is the classmate and very good friend of Cardinal Tagle.
Ay, wow.
Yeah, ganun level. So, we have the statues, mga saints.
Yung mga rebulto.
Antique, yeah.
Yes, the big
we have
ones.
2 silver carrozas. Anyway, so it was a very flamboyant childhood. But funny story. I was... I think my parents caught me playing with dolls. And my mom, for some reason, she didn't like the idea. Kasi syempre, the generation back then, parang they will stereotype gay men as parlorista and whatnot. But there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. But anyway, so my mom was very careful, or she was very worrisome that I will end up to be a parlorista, just like her uncle. So she took away all the dolls away from me. Mga Barbie, ganyan.
Oh.
And siguro ako as a kid, parang hindi ko naintindihan. No child will understand the difference between what is for boys and what is for girls. Unless the parents and, the environment tells them of such, di ba na? This is pink, it's for girls. Doon lang naman natin nalalaman yun as kids eh.
Totoo.
But us as children, we don't know these things. We're very naive and we're very innocent. So, a doll is a doll, it's a toy. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't, in our brains, hindi natin nalalaman. Anyway, pero nagulat ako na kapag naglalaro ako ng Santo Niño,
Nilalaro mo yung Santo Niño.
Yeah,
kasi para rin siyang doll actually.
Kasi tinanggal yung mga dolls eh. And then so, we had a Santo Niño at home, and I was playing with it. And I realized that if I play with Santo Niño, they don't have the same reaction. My mom didn't have the same reaction. She didn't care. So to me, parang, why would I want to go back to Barbie? When I can play with Santo Niño with longer hair, with curlier hair, with a crown and a scepter and a globe. Anyway.
And a gown.
Velvet gown. So they thought, you're gonna be a priest. Maybe you're gonna be a priest. So kala nila, I'll be religious. When in fact, it was a replacement for the dolls. So I was known to be that boy. And then they gave me more saints to play with.
Like
palaki.
More statues.
The Santo Niño was this big, this small. And then I got a bigger Mary Magdalene from my Lola. And then I had a bigger Santo Niño about this big. And then I had another Virgin Mary. And another life size. Anyway, point is, that became my life. And I was an altar boy. And I was really, I was groomed. I was being groomed to become a priest. So, to the point that if I was asked at a younger age, what do you want to become when you grow up? I would always say, a priest.
Oh, you wanted to be a priest.
Yeah. So now, from these experiences, I learned that dream enabling has several types. So one is the dream that was set for you by someone else, parents, whatever. The dream that was set for you by circumstances. Kunyari, parang, you realize na, I need to become a nurse because I need to take care of my family. May ganyan. Tapos, the third one is the dreams that is set for you by the environment you're surrounded with. And then another one is the dream that you discover yourself.
So one is dream set for you by your family. The second one is dream set for you by the circumstances. 3 is the dream set for you by the environment where you're growing up. And then the fourth one is the one that you discover yourself. Okay. So dun sa apat na yun, ano yung mga dreams mo?
So I guess the first one yun nga, that was set for me.
Yes.
And then at a certain age, I realized that's not the dream that I really want, I was about 16, 17. I was probably still in high school, 16. Meron akong letter na admission for the seminary.
Oh, for high school.
To enter into college.
Oh, the college, yeah.
High school to college. So, pinag-isipan ko na siya that time na parang, am I ready? Is this really for me? And then came my sexual awakening.
So you were 17 years old when you figured out that, okay, I am not supposed to be a priest.
Yes.
What happened then?
How open are we in this show?
We are so open.
So, unfortunately, the first sexual experience was actually inside the church.
Oh, wow.
Inside the church.
When
the
you
physical
say
church.
Inside the church.
At the back of the sacristy.
Is it with someone from the
someone,
church?
a superior, but not a priest. He was a superior. I've never talked about this on TV, so this is very interesting. But I've spoken to this on several Twitter spaces. So yeah, if my parents find out about this, I can't do it.
Thank you for trusting
I've never
us.
spoken to my family about it. That person got caught eventually, but when I was much older na, siguro like 5 years, 10 years ago, I guess, I was probably 30 plus years old when I found out that he was caught.
So it wasn't consensual?
It was, no, because this guy, what he does is he grooms the little boys.
Oh.
I was a minor when I was groomed. In my mind, parang, this is not what I want. But, he presented ideas and words and fantasies into my mind for me to eventually give it a go. And then eventually I realized that's not what I want. Or I really didn't want it at that time, or I didn't want it with him. So, yeah, he got caught, and apparently he was teaching in a school, and he got kicked out of the school. Apparently there were other altar boys that he molested.
Groomed and
he
molested.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So I wanted to speak up because at that time, but I realized there's just so much, it's going to be a scandal in the family. I just didn't want to do that. So, but I think I'm already 43. So I'm thinking, am I going to wait for my parents to die before I speak, right? Because that's always my concern, my parents. I don't, especially my mom. It's my dad. My dad is very open-minded, but my mom, she's very conservative, and like there are things that she won't understand na. Like even if, you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
Diba? Even if we presented them ideas that we believe or we think is right, for them, but it's not part of their generation, value system. So it's hard for them to get it.
How do you think they will react when they
I think
this?
Well, like what I said, I'm already 43, I'm 7 years short to 50. So I think I'm at that age wherein I should be able to confidently talk about these things, right? My paternal grandmother, she died just this January, and I think she was the last parang consideration also that I was really worried about, because she's too old and I don't want her, and she's so religious also. Like I don't want anything like that to,
hurt her.
So she's gone. So parang to me, I think it's about time that I start speaking up with this. And I'm just looking for the right moment, and I feel like, okay, this is probably the right moment. And
Thank you.
No, but I also feel very intimate here. I like this show because I don't know. It feels like it's just the two of us.
Thank you. That's what it is. It's a private
I like
conversation.
it. Like I don't see people here. So I feel like but I'm pretty sure there are people listening outside.
But thank you for trusting me, for trusting this show with that story.
I'm slowly opening up. Because there's so many things I want to share, and like what I said, I don't want na dumating yung point na I'm gonna regret na parang I should have spoken much earlier. So I feel like it's the right time.
How is this working out for you? How is this helping you that you're sharing your story?
Well, it's been a long life trauma that I have kept to myself and to a few people, right? So definitely the goal is definitely to heal, diba? The traumas inside, start forgiving yourself, because it will eventually still haunt you, diba? And there are things that it may manifest now and then na hindi mo sure na parang, it's coming from that pala, right?
So you said that was your sexual awakening.
Yeah.
Right? It just so happened that it was with the wrong person, that you didn't want it to be with that person.
I'm saying that's an awakening because it was a pivotal moment for me. Because prior to that, it was all in the church, like religious praying, you know. There was a lot of guilt even when I would touch myself, for example, or when I even daydream about someone or something, you know. But at that moment, I realized that, okay, this is it, you know. Kasi diba, dati fantasy lang siya, and now parang you're able to do it. But yun nga, it wasn't at the right person, and it wasn't at the right time. It was just, to me, parang a bad dream when I think about it. Parang I could have saved it for, you know, a better experience. Yeah.
So how are you working with that experience now that you're healing? And how does it affect your sexual relationships?
That's a very valid question. I don't ever have to think about that naman, no? So I don't think that it plays a huge part. It's something that I have to remember, you know, to assess and evaluate. Yeah, I don't think that it plays a huge part in my day-to-day activities or in my relationships. But it's something that I just have to revisit so that I can sort of fix the trauma, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So you said that was also the time that you realized that you're not going to be a priest.
Yes.
Right? So what made you decide, okay, I'm not going to be a priest?
Because I realized that sexuality is a very integral part of myself, of a human being. And I just can't fathom the idea that I will be celibate, for example, or would abstain, right? So I just can't let go of it. I feel like, to me, that's probably my worship. That's probably my way of celebrating life and my body and my spirit, and I just can't let go of it. No, I feel like sexuality is such a beautiful thing. That's why I pity people in church, or in church, who apparently pledge their lives to the service, but can't let go of the sexual side.
Yes.
Because to me, it's hard to do that because it's a human need, and it is a human, natural human behavior. So there are some guys, like, I do get messages from priests, flirting. But to me, parang, malis ka na lang dyan, di ba?
Oo, wag mo na
lang, kasi hindi ko carry yung, I'll engage with them and then, you know what I mean?
Magkakasala ka pa.
Hindi yun eh. I don't care about that. But it's just that, parang, dude, you're lying to yourself and to your pledge to the church, and I just don't want to be part of that.
Yes. So that's your boundary. So how, you said your family is very religious, your mom also, you're trying to protect. How did you tell them that you're gay?
I never had to tell that to my parents. I have never spoken to my mom about it. Na parang, how do you feel? I'm gay. I've never had that conversation with her. I think that's the type of relationship I have with my parents, na parang there's always that boundary, na parang things you can't talk about or stuff, but you understand, right? So that's the kind of relationship I have with my parents. So parang mahirap yung ganong usapan. So I was brought to a child psychiatrist at the age of 5 because they thought I was gay. Di ba I told you na, my mom took away the dolls and all that?
Yes.
You know what? When I think about it, I don't blame her. I think it's safe to say that it is homophobia. But where does that come from? I've never spoken to her. But I can only assume that maybe she does not want me to live the struggles that her sisters, she has 2 lesbian sisters, and her gay uncle had gone through. Perhaps.
So maybe it was a way for her to protect you? Because
Perhaps,
she doesn't want you to go through that
or she
kind
was
of
going
challenge.
through, but also maybe she was going through struggling. You know, she was probably struggling. Na parang she didn't want me to end up like, you know, to have those struggles.
Yeah.
I never had the courage to talk to her about it, but maybe one day I will. But anyway, so they brought me to a child psychiatrist. I was 5, and it's funny because I remember that moment. There was a dollhouse in a classroom type of setting. I'm assuming that's how the child psychiatrist clinic looked like. And there was a dollhouse that was partially open. I mean, like that one side is open, and then it's a 2-floor dollhouse, and there are dolls
inside the small
yeah,
ones.
small pegs that you place.
Parang Polly Pocket.
Yes. And then the doctor asks me questions na parang, oh, where are you here? And then where's your mom? So they will assess. So I'm really surprised up until, I'm actually very curious up until now, because I know that homosexuality was removed
from the DSM as a disorder, as a disease.
As a disorder, even prior to that moment. So I don't know why there was a need for a diagnosis. So my mom, she shared this story again to me at a much later time. We were watching TV, and she just shared it. She said, you know, we brought you a child psychiatrist because we thought you were gay. And then she stopped.
Okay.
And then I just looked at her. And then it's so funny kasi parang sabi ko, oh my God.
Came out of nowhere.
And then what? You know, I didn't want to ask her. I didn't want to ask her parang, so what happened? I didn't ask. I didn't want.
How did you react?
Wala. I was quiet. I was watching TV. I was like, I was waiting for her to say something, and I'm like, she didn't say anything. So sabi ko parang, that's so strange. So I came to my sister. I said, did you know that I was brought to a child psychiatrist when I was young? Because I remember it. And my mom said, you know, she mentioned it to me again. But she paused and didn't tell me what happened next. You know what my sister said?
What?
She said, I know that. And she knew what the results were.
So what were the results?
Sabi ko, how on earth do you know my own diagnosis when it's supposed to be mine? Like, I'm supposed to know that. So the doctor said I was too young to be diagnosed.
Oh, okay. So walang diagnosis.
Well, that was diagnosis. I was too young.
Yun.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. And they talked about it, but they didn't tell you.
Didn't tell me. So there were conversations about me
being gay,
but not involving me. But you know, I remember as a kid, I will go to a restaurant, and then the restaurant owner would say, "Oh, are you still playing with Barbie?" But I don't even.
Nila.
Yes, people know. People know.
So they
people
talk
know,
about
and I'm like,
you.
But the problem is, I never remember playing with Barbie or any dolls, except for one doll, which was my brother's doll. Yung brother ko may rag doll kasi. Rag doll. But that was my debate. Imagine 5 years old, sabi ko sa nanay ko, bakit siya meron?
Oo. Tapos ikaw wala. Tapos ikaw santo
And then I
ninyo.
started to play with my brother's doll. Sabi niya, you can't play with that. It's for girls. He's not a girl. Doesn't make sense. So I was so confused as a boy. Parang, I don't get it.
What do you think about the hookup culture in the LGBTQIA++ community?
You know, medyo broad yan, Doc.
Sige.
Hookup culture in the Philippines can be discussed very lengthy. Interestingly, I was speaking to some friends quite recently about how it has changed through time. So I can only speak of my experience and maybe some from those who are much older than me.
Sige, let's talk about your experience.
Naabutan ko kasi yung wala pang internet.
So paano yun nun?
Well, yung wala pang internet, it was very brief. Pero hindi pa ako nag-explore noon eh. But I would hear from people and stuff like that. Like mga stories, no? So, they would really cruise.
Anong cruise?
So, may
What do you mean?
may mga cruising spaces. So, you go to certain spaces na alam mo merong possible hookups.
So parang you go to a certain space na yun yung intention mo.
Yes.
So people go there to have sex.
Yeah. To hook up, to find someone and then to bring somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
But so, I was too young naman for that. That's like prior to me. But anyway, like during my time naman, so the internet blew up around, let's say 1999, 2000. There was a chat software called MIRC.
MIRC, yes.
And I'm pretty sure our generation can, relate to that very much. So there were chat groups specifically just for MSM, men having sex with men. So there's two that I know of. Maybe there were more. It's Bi Manila and Gay Manila. Funny, I never went to Gay Manila because at that time I don't want to be associated as gay. The notion of gay is flamboyant, parlorista, bading. And to me, I didn't want to be that, or I don't associate myself to be that. So I thought I was bi.
Okay.
And so I had introduced myself to, like a small peer community as bisexual. And so I'm always on Bi Manila. And a lot of the people that I met there, I'm still friends with some of them, and it was a very interesting time. When you go there, you don't know their faces. You create your nickname based on how you want to be perceived. Kunyari, you're tall, dark, 23, or you're
ASM,
chinito. Your name. You're chinito, red lips, 15, ganyan, whatever. So yung number, yun yung usually yung age mo yun. Doon ka lang magbe-base. And then when you chat with people, yun nga yung ASL, age, sex, location, statistics, what's your height, whatever, like that. So you're building relationships off of trust.
Yes.
You have to trust people through you have to be creative enough to describe yourself, Then
you get to meet them and have sex with them.
And then you decide later on, okay, let's meet up. And then you can't be late when you meet up these people because it has to be exact. Okay, let's meet at 8 o'clock at Robinson's Ermita.
Wala pa cellphone nun eh.
Wala pa cellphone. So you go there and then you look around and then kasi you have to talk about what they're wearing and stuff. So I'm gonna wear a red shirt, I have a black backpack, whatever, blue cap, whatever, ganyan. So you meet and then you decide to,
if you're gonna have sex.
If it clicks for you, right?
What's your most interesting sexual story from that?
From that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, wait. Let me think. From that, ang dami kasi. Maraming meetups. Marami ring mga 1 week, 2 weeks jowa, ganyan. Parang, I was at that age na parang I'm just really...
Sige lang.
I was itching to really have a boyfriend, and so like I would be with someone for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or like a month or 2 months, ganyan. And then, I think more than hookup, it's really more on like really connecting with people at that age, at that time. Parang hindi pa ako masyado nung parang sex. Yeah.
So kailan ka naging sex?
I would like to think it should be interesting. Interesting. It's an interesting question. I think I'm actually more active in my late 20s. Yeah, I'm not saying that I didn't have sex earlier on. The first group sex I've had was I was 19.
Oh wow! Kwento mo sa akin. Please. No, I really want to hear those kinds of stories. Actually, I wanted to ask you kasi
I was 19 years old and I was at this birthday party somewhere here. And I won't tell. Anyway, it was a private village. It was a private house. And someone in the party, it was in the garden. It was a big party. One of the guests said, "Oh, did you check out the second floor of the house?" And we said, "Why? What's going on?" I mean, this party is notorious for group sex and whatever.
Orgy.
So ako parang, No, we haven't. So maybe we should. So I asked one of my best friends, well, let's check it out. So we went upstairs, pero walang nangyayari. Parang people were just hanging out, ganyan. Sabi ko, are we gonna wait or should we start the party? So we did start the party.
Oh my gosh, ano ginawa mo, Niccolo?
Crazy. Safe naman yung mga ganap. But it was
How did
wild.
you start? You just went up to someone?
Because there was a foyer, and then there was a door that leads to a big bedroom. And so there were people hanging out at the foyer and some in the bedroom. And I said, guys, we're gonna close this door in 15 minutes. So if you wanna join, come in. If not,
Napainom ako, diba?
like if you join, then come in. Ang lakas ng loob ko nun, for 19.
Oh.
I think it's the hormones. It's the height of your sexual hormones. Yeah. So.
Ilan kayo doon?
12.
12 people went into the bedroom and then game na.
Yeah. Very much. I will spare the details for some other guesting. But at 19.
Okay. So how did that experience went for you?
That was mind-blowing. Kasi first I've never had that experience before. So it was mind-blowing. And I feel like at that moment, I felt like, I felt mature. Kasi that's, I think, parang, diba?
Parang bucket list, parang, yeah. You know that
parang,
these things happen. I experienced it. Yeah.
Some of those people I'm still friends with until now. It's crazy, And, I still see them. But we don't talk about those things anymore, no?
But yeah. But you did say you were safe.
Yes.
Everyone was safe. I think that's important. And sabi mo
at
rin
that
kanina,
time, very much so.
During that time, hindi nga uso yung nagko-condom
That's true. I want to share. It was so hard to buy condoms. And it was much more difficult to buy lubes. The lubricants weren't available then. And there's not
Nasa pharmacy.
Walang Lazada or whatever to buy from, no? You have to go to the pharmacy and you can only buy KY jelly, which is behind the glass cabinet, and it's locked. So the only way to purchase it is to ask the pharmacist if you can buy it. And I swear to God, this is how I buy it. Hi, ma'am, I'm a nurse, and I need to buy a KY jelly. I have to say it like that. Kasi I'm so embarrassed. But I've tried other things. I've tried shampoo, I've tried lotion, because there was
walang
options, walang access. It was just, and KY jelly is so expensive.
Yes, it's like 1,000 per.
Yeah, and I can't afford it.
Tube.
Cannot afford it. I mean, most of the times you can't afford it. So you stick with, what's available.
Lotion,
right? Lotions and whatever. Shampoo, I remember Dove. Kasi Dove, hindi siya
natutuyo.
Hindi siya matapang.
So siya, smooth siya.
So I remember using those things because there was not, the access wasn't there, Access wasn't there. So we're very lucky now that access is
everywhere. I actually have lube for you, not joking.
Oh my God,
it's in my bag.
Oh,
so I'll give it to you later.
She gave me lubes before, and I mixed it with
your
vodka.
Because it's yummy.
Yeah.
At 19 years old, and then you said 28 ka, mas naging sex. What changed then? What made you say?
Late 20s. Yeah, late 20s. Oh, because I moved out. That was it. I moved out of the house. I moved out of my parents' house. I moved to my own space. And, you can explore more. Kasi prior to that, parang such a hassle. You have to go to a motel or you have to go to their house. Some motels, not all motels accommodate same sex.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been shooed away from motels before.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, there are motels that don't allow two men to go.
Even now?
I'm not sure now because I don't go to motels anymore. But when I was younger, yes, I've been shooed away from motels.
Gosh.
I can't remember which motels, but there were motels that didn't appreciate or celebrate.
Yeah.
Gay
Well,
men.
yeah, it makes sense. Kasi, diba, before I remember, may mga kwento na you can't go to a motel if you're not married. May mga ganun, diba?
Yes, may ganyan. So maybe
So,
maybe those were the motels.
Yes.
But yeah, but when I moved out, I had my own space, and I think
had
that
more freedom.
I had more freedom. Alam mo, I remember waking up my first morning. Ang sarap nung feeling, ang sarap nung amoy, ang sarap nung everything.
Teka lang. First morning alone in your new place, or
Yes,
first morning alone with someone?
Alone. Because I woke up naked, and for some reason, I just celebrated that moment. I slept naked and I woke up naked. I don't sleep naked. But that night, I slept naked.
It's freedom, no?
I just felt so free, and I'm like, wow, this is just an amazing feeling. And I remember that that moment talaga na parang wow. And I woke up early in the morning, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because again, diba, you were restrained at home. Even now, when you're at home, you're reserved. Yeah. So when you got yourself out of the house and got your own space for yourself, it's liberating.
Yeah, super liberating.
I want to know, you talked about group sex, you talked about your sexual experience. How does consent play in casual sex? Or even like in group sex experiences?
I'm very sensitive. And I guess parang going back to your question earlier, no, parang how does that, my first sexual experience play part? Ito na nga, so na-realize ko na parang yun nga, I think yung consent. And it's really wanting and really needing to be in that space and having to consent to that experience.
To everything.
I'm very sensitive, and I'm very sensitive to the other person's feelings and fantasies also. I'm a pleaser kasi, so parang what do you want? Are you okay with this? Because if not, we don't have to do it.
What do you like doing?
I'm a pleaser, so it's usually what works with the fantasy that is presented. Does it make sense?
So
when you're in the setting, syempre magkakapaan kayo, di ba? Parang ano ba?
Literal ba kapaan to, or you talk you talk about what you want to happen first?
I guess prior din naman to meeting, di ba? You get to talk about what their fantasies are. And during that moment, syempre nag-iiba yung dynamics pa rin eh. Na parang you'll see na parang ay submissive siya or ayaw niyang submissive siya, yung ganyan, di ba? Ako, I can pretty much give into the fantasies that they want as well. Pero may mga boundaries din naman kasi tayo, right? So, like in my case, I can be submissive, but then there are times that I need to be dominant as well. Parang I need an equal playing field. Parang pagbigyan kita at this moment, pero later, gaganti naman ako, di ba?
So, fantasy. What's your fantasy?
It's very broad eh. It's very broad. Like, it depends on the mood, It depends on the mood.
Top of mind right now, what are you thinking of?
Oh my God. Oh my God, you put me on the spot. Dominating with some tying.
Like that. So tying the other
person. Parang ako, I can't do it.
Ayaw mo ikaw yung tinatay. Gusto mo ikaw yung
sobrang
nagtatay.
makilitin kasi ako eh. So parang hindi siya nag-end up ng sexual. Yung pleasure parang
tawa lang
ako. Tawa talaga ako. So parang it's not gonna work for me. So that's what I
So you would rather dominate and you tie the person and you do whatever you want to that person.
Yeah, or whatever they want. Yeah.
Saya.
Kasi yung pleaser nga, di ba? So parang what do you want me to do?
Ganun ka ba magtanong?
Kasi pwede. Kasi as a photographer, as a director, parang ganun di ba? Parang I direct the scene and
so it plays.
Yeah, so I play the right music, and then there's like an actual kind of lighting whatever, diba?
You can bring your work to the bedroom and make the experience
minus
more fun.
Minus the video cameras.
That would be interesting.
Minus that.
Mag-direct na ka naman.
Yeah, but I shot something like that now.
Oh,
but not
nice.
me. Like it was the height of it was still the pandemic.
Oh, nice.
Someone messaged me and asked me if I'm willing to shoot.
Parang soft porn.
Soft porn, yeah.
Oh,
and because I didn't have work, a lot of work, no? And this guy was willing to pay quite
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And how was the experience
and
like for you?
He didn't even ask for discount.
Talagang game lang.
Sabi
just
ko, this
shoot.
is how much I'm gonna charge you for this, ganyan. But he had his, meron siyang mga, what's the word for it? He had a list of things that that I had to do. Like for example, he didn't want other people around.
So it was just him. You were filming him plus another person.
No, just him.
Do you filmed him masturbating?
Yes.
Oh wow!
Sabi ko kasi parang I think I'll be more comfortable if there was another person with me, like my assistant or whatever. But he didn't want that. So I was the videographer. I was the director. I was the photographer. And I was also the makeup artist. So I had to do his makeup.
So everything.
I had to do everything.
How was that experience for you?
It was very challenging, but it was a good experience because I've never had that experience. And I'm like, wow, this is an opportunity for me to have this learning experience.
Did he ask you to join?
There was one time because apparently if you're shooting stuff like that, he needs to get hard, and so he needs to touch himself and to watch porn in between. So there was a time he would go to the bathroom and do that, but it takes time. So I'll be waiting. So it does eat a lot of time. So parang towards the end, parang tinamad na siya magpunta ng banyo. So he would just do it in front of me. And then I had a lighting setup here, so I will just have to sit like this, so that he doesn't see my face. But I can see him, like I can see him.
So he was masturbating.
Yeah, but because I remember it was just awkward because and I don't want him to feel that I'm taking advantage or whatever. So I would just like move away so he doesn't see me that I'm looking at him, and then I would just look away. And then when he's ready, I would resume. But there was a time when I was filming, and then he was jerking off in front of me, and it was very close, like me and then him, and then he was saying something like, "You can touch it if you want."
Oh. But
I think I'm not sure at that time. I wasn't sure because I never met him. This is my first time meeting him. I wasn't sure what his intentions were. I didn't know what was that, like, what do you want, you know? So I wasn't so sure, and I wanted to keep it professional, so nothing happened. I didn't do anything. I said, "Oh no, I'm sure you can do it yourself. I'm just here. I'll cheer you."
But that's also like a play into consent, diba? Kasi like that yung uncertainty mo, it can be parang manipulative that he was just paying you to do this when maybe he really wanted you.
But also I've never met him before, and I wasn't paid yet. So I just didn't. I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in that moment or that's the situation. Kasi sabi ko, parang what if this becomes something else? You know, I don't want to end up being like one of those photographers, videographers now would end up in a scandal, diba? That they took advantage of people. Like I'm not ready. I don't want that. I'm not ready for that scandal. That's what I meant. Kasi parang wala na akong work ngayon, tapos ganun pa. But eventually we became friends. And I think he appreciated na hindi ko siya, I didn't take advantage or anything. So yun. So,
that you respected your roles, right?
Also, pero work, let's just work,
Yeah. So thank you for sharing all your experiences, like a lot of your experiences with me and with the show. And I want to know, what's your message for, the LGBTQIA++ community and even other people who go through these like sexual explorations and sexual experiences?
I think my message would be is that it's completely normal. It's completely normal to experience these things, because when I was young, so I wanna speak to the younger LGBTQIA plus, and not just LGBT, but like to all the young, people, young adolescents. Kasi we are so, like myself, I was trapped in a box, especially when I was in the church. To me, that was a sin. Diba? So there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of guilt in my heart and in my mind that I had to go through. And it's heavy, You celebrate yourself, but then you realize, oh, this is bad. Because Father said like this, And I would go to confession with a heavy heart, and I would confess and all that. And I wish that you could understand that it's normal to experience these things, but also it's important then to look and wait for the right timing. And then now that access is everywhere, be smart. There's a lot of things where we can learn from, YouTube and whatnot. We just have to be discerning with the right media to watch and to absorb. There's condoms and lubes everywhere.
Yes.
Not like before.
Yeah.
But you go to 7-Eleven or whichever, and it's just right there. And there's a lot of different varieties now. If that's nakakahiya for you, you can go to online. Maraming online you can buy. Condoms, ang daming variants, no? Ang daming variety. A lot. And it's a beautiful thing when you explore it, when you know what you're getting into. Diba? Ang sad din kasi dahil we learn things from experience na lang Nung time natin, wala namang Google.
Wala talaga. Experience talaga. You go out and then someone gets you and then you have sex and then you realize, oh my God, that wasn't good. Right? Parang I feel violated. But now, you have the information. You just need to be discerning and be more responsible of your bodies and other people's bodies too.
True.
Right? And
I also want to talk to the parents out there. It's important that we acknowledge these things also. It's normal, for kids, for young adolescents to feel, at a very early age, diba? We already have these feelings, no? It's important that we tell them that it's all right, You're gonna feel these, weird things and tingling feelings and whatnot. And it's all right.
Yes.
It's fine. Hindi yung parang forever sa childhood natin, parang, oh, this is wrong, we're gonna go to hell.
Oh, you burn in hell, bastos yan, ganyan. Hindi, kasi it's really part of who we are as people, right? And our goal is to be able to experience that kind of freedom that you experience, to embrace yourself and discover whatever your dream is for yourself, right?
Amen.
There you go. Thank you, Niccolo Cosme. Thank you
so
for
much
trusting
also.
us here on Private Convos with Doc Rica. Catch our Private Convos again next week here on One News. You can also check out the long conversation on Spotify, YouTube, and Google Podcast. I am Dr. Rica Cruz, and this is Private Convos. We are One News, all sides, all the time.